On The Young and the Restless, tomorrow, Monday, August 18th, 2025, Nick tries to find out more about Cain's plans, while Nate is more interested in what Audra has been up to. We've got the photo spoilers of what's coming up. On The Young and the Restless, Victor dug himself a hole by interfering in Claire and Kyle's relationship. It was one thing to threaten Claire that she better obey his wishes, and it was another to be blatantly rude to Kyle at her father's funeral. But hiring Audra Charles to come between the pair was crossing a very wide, deep line for Claire. Victor's also been busy trying to deal with the threat that Cain Ashby is bringing to town. Worried that Cain wants his businesses, Victor has tasked Nick with befriending Cain to find out what he's up to. But Nick also has another connection: Phyllis. Meanwhile, Nate has had a lot going on since everyone returned from France. He found out that his newly found half-brother Damien was murdered in Nice, and he flew to Chicago with Damien's mom Amy for the service. Now that he's back, he knows something isn't right. Let's see what's going to happen on tomorrow's episode. Nick tries to talk to Phyllis at Society. He knows that she and Billy are working with Cain. Someone is going to win at this game, and others will not. But when the battle lines are drawn, does Nick really think that Phyllis would help Victor? Nate senses Audra is keeping a secret and asks her what it is. Audra thinks she's covering her tracks with Nate, but there are just too many lies and too many witnesses. Claire's ready to rebel. She doesn't care what Victor's concerns are or why he hates the Abbott so much. She was controlled all of her life by her Aunt Jordan, and she doesn't want that again for herself, not by anyone. Can Nikki bring two of the people she loves the most back together before it's too late? On Monday, she tries. Nikki meets with Claire at Crimson Lights and works to reconcile her husband and granddaughter. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. Cain may have paid for the empanadas when he invited Jack for a meal at Society on The Young and the Restless, but it was the Abbott patriarch who ended up owning the lunch meeting. Peter Bergman has earned Soap Central's Performer of the Week for Y&R Honors this week for his deft portrayal of Jack Abbott, a business exec who showed Cain who is, and who isn't, in charge. Bergman had Jack betray a look on his face that showed he knew exactly what Cain was up to by ordering lunch for them both. It was a power play. After Jack referenced the horrific events of Nice, Cain apologized for Carter's actions as if his former aide had simply misplaced dinner table name cards and not committed murder. He killed 2 men, Jack firmly reminded Cain, using a tone that indicated right away that this wasn't going to be a social get-together. The former Aristotle Dumas tried to assure Jack that he wasn't a threat to him, which prompted Jack to quip that if he felt that he was a danger, he wouldn't be sitting across from him at a table that had cutlery on it. Bergman brought both coyness, awareness, and strength to the Jack/Cain scenes. Jack made sure that Cain wasn't going to insinuate himself into Jack's life, despite his charm and offer to spring for lunch. Jack suggested to Cain that they stop talking cryptically and instead asked the billionaire to focus on specifics. Jack wondered why Billy had an interest in Abbott Communications, as it was an untried entity. "This is not about money," Jack pointedly told Billy, who suggested otherwise. Cain tried to get Jack to drop his defenses by pointing out that he and Billy were once practically brothers. Jack deftly shot down the brief period in which Cain passed himself off as Jill's son. "Whatever short time you had as Billy's brother was based on a lie," Jack said. He called Cain out of his civility and charming smile and said that ordering his lunch was an unsuccessful attempt at trying to gain control. Neither of the men raised their voices in these scenes, but Jack made it clear in his tone that he wasn't buying Cain's act for a single second. Bergman brought a controlled intensity to his character throughout, sending Cain the message that he was in for a fight if his plans included hurting the Abbotts. Jack said he had thought about doing a deal with Cain, but he had a change of heart. Instead, he wanted to sell Cain something, the idea that he should leave Genoa City. "No one wants you here, Cain," Jack said. "No one trusts you enough to do business with you." Jack quipped that any chance Cain had and seized at garnering some goodwill with folks in town was left on the other side of the Atlantic. He queried Cain as to what drove him to expand an already vast and successful empire. Next, Jack went in for the kill when he told Cain that whatever his plans were, he wouldn't succeed in getting back Lily's heart. The Abbott exec knew that comment would push Cain's buttons, so he started to make his exit before emotions ran wild. First, though, he delivered a powerful warning to his adversary. Bergman maintained eye contact with his scene partner to emphasize Jack's state of mind. "You would be wise to remember the scope of power, the range of tenacity of the people you are pitting yourself against," Jack stated, pointing out to Cain that his billions were no match for the accumulated smarts belonging to him and other Genoa City power players. "Thank you for the empanadas," Jack quipped. "I lost my appetite." Bravo to Bergman, who has won 3 Daytime Emmys for his role on The Young and the Restless. He portrays Jack as a powerful force, a businessman who has succeeded in life by knowing his opponents better than they may know themselves. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Phyllis Summers may cause some wedding crasher chaos. Will Phyllis find that she can't resist blowing up a big event happening this October? In the August 14th episode, Christine Blair asked Daniel Romalotti Jr. to do her a favor ahead of her marriage ceremony. Although Christine is looking forward to tying the knot with Danny Romalotti, she knows there's one person who could wreck the festivities. Of course, we're talking about Phyllis, who considers the bug her worst enemy and always enjoys making life miserable for her. That's why Christine is counting on Daniel to keep Phyllis as far away from the nuptials as possible. "I refuse to let Phyllis ruin the happiest day of my life, which is exactly what she's going to try and do," Christina insisted. It's possible that Christine is simply judging Phyllis over her past mistakes. Phyllis is honestly pretty fixated on being Cain Ashby's ally right now, so sabotaging Christine and Danny's special day may not be on her radar. It seems like Phyllis has genuinely moved on from Danny, so she may decide not to mess with the ceremony in the end. However, we also know that Phyllis is a creature of habit, and that her rivalry with Christine will never fade to the background for too long. Phyllis called a truce with Sharon Newman, but that's something that may not be possible with cricket. Daniel will no doubt do what Christine asks of him and push Phyllis to keep her distance. The last thing Daniel will want is for Phyllis to crash the wedding and make some giant public spectacle. Unfortunately, Phyllis isn't known for taking Daniel's advice. Telling Phyllis to stay away might actually entice her to go against Daniel's warning and stir up wedding trouble. All signs point to Christine and Danny successfully saying their vows, but Phyllis could still crash the party and cause a little drama. It might be fun if Y&R throws Phyllis in the mix to push Christine's buttons a bit. Even if Phyllis lets the wedding happen as planned and just delivers a messy toast, her presence alone could shake things up. Bottom line, Phyllis may surrender to her worst impulses and cause some wedding crasher mayhem, so stay tuned for updates on any shocking news that might be coming up for Christina and Danny. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis could have a few tricks up her sleeve if Christine's fear is proven right. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Phyllis Summers might fake a romance with Cain Ashby and offer to help her new boss make Lily Winters jealous. Cain has made repeated attempts to get closer to Lily and convince her that they still belong together. No matter how many times Cain tries to show Lily that they're meant to be, she always stands her ground. In Y&R's August 18th episode, Cain will once again plead for another chance, since he doesn't think either one of them has felt a love like this before. It's something special as far as Cain's concerned, so he'll push Lily to open the door a crack, or at least unlock it for him. When Lily refuses to agree to the fresh, romantic start Cain wants, he'll get frustrated. This could lead to Cain ultimately venting to Phyllis, who's become his new right-hand woman. Phyllis is ready and willing to do whatever needs to be done when it comes to making Cain happy. That might include pretending they're mixing business with pleasure. Phyllis would rather see Cain focus on their corporate plans alone, but she may see that's impossible when he's so obsessed with Lily. Maybe Phyllis could offer to help Cain make some progress by switching it up with a new tactic. Phyllis understands the power of jealousy, so she might think it's a tool that Cain can use to his advantage. Cain was certainly jealous over Lily's bond with Damian Cain in Italy, at least until Carter wiped Damien off the map. Now it might be Lily's turn to deal with some jealousy if Phyllis and Cain pretend they're romantically involved. Of course, the situation could get tricky if Cain and Phyllis develop some real feelings along the way. The Young and the Restless spoilers previously hinted about Phyllis scoring a victory in both business and love, so Cain could become a legitimate love interest for her. Whatever the case, Cain and Phyllis have already had some rather flirty discussions, so the show might lean into that. The trouble could start with Cain using Phyllis to make Lily jealous and go from there, so stay tuned for updates on any surprising romantic news to come. If we had to name two things that Brighton James does well, it's portraying Devon Winters on The Young and the Restless and keeping his private life private. But there's one personal fact that the actor can't hide today. It's his birthday. On The Young and the Restless, Brighton James has been playing the role of Devon Hamilton Winters since 2004, but his acting career began when he was just 2 years old. Despite his fame, there are random opportunities to know about James' personal life online. But what we do know of his past year is that he's given his time, joining co-stars such as Christian LeBlanc, Sean Dominic, and Connor Floyd at charity events and fundraisers hosted by Kate Linder everywhere from LA to Toronto. The show's historic 13,000th episode was centered around James' character. It was that episode that Devon and Abby Newman married at the newly rebuilt Newman Ranch main house, a replica of the original set. James also participated in the first crossover between The Young and the Restless and CBS's newest daytime serial, Beyond the Gates, just last week. In the landmark episode, Devon Hamilton, a music producer, came from Genoa City with an offer of a recording deal for Anita Dupree and her singing group, the Articulettes. James' personal life may be somewhat private, but many of those in it he also knows from his Y&R family. James has shared that co-star and Y&R sister, Christelle Khalil, is one of his best friends. Not only do the two share the screen on The Young and the Restless, but they also met in 1996 when Khalil made a guest appearance on Family Matters, the show that first made James famous. Another close friend that James met through the show is Daniel Goddard. The two friends are also business partners, creating an app called Billboard a few years ago, and currently working together on another social networking app called Disco. The company explains, whether you're on campus, at a convention, or exploring a new city, Disco helps you discover who's around and what you have in common, then start chatting. Instantly. It's bound to happen. This week's slow burn goes to Lily and Cain on The Young and the Restless. They're bound to get back together. The writing is in the stars for these two exes. Lily admitted that she doesn't trust Cain, and she can't forgive him for all that happened. However, she will likely warm up to him, but only if he's willing to better himself. Cain disguised himself as Aristotle Dumas, only to reveal himself once his guests arrived at his French estate. Of course, Lily was the first to find out. Cain revealed that he's been trying to acquire everyone's real estate and businesses in Genoa City. He's been keeping a close eye on them ever since he left in 2019. Now, Cain has blood on his hands. There were 3 murders in Nice. Damien was the first victim, followed by Chance. Carter, Cain's assistant, was the one who was behind the murders. Cain groomed him to do whatever he wanted for him, and he went down a dark path. Cain wants Lily back and wants them to have a happy family again. However, she can't trust him, especially after he betrayed her once again and lied about his identity. Not to mention, he's now connected to 3 murders, one of which included a man she could have fallen in love with. We could see Lily eventually taking Cain back. It will take a lot of work on his part, though. Lily is already setting the ground rules in their relationship. She wants them to be able to coexist in Genoa City, especially since he refuses to leave this time around. Lily also wants to keep up a united front when it comes to their family. Her feelings for Cain could change once they reunite with their kids. Deep down, she knows that Cain is a good father who would do anything for his kids. Seeing him interact with them could soften her heart. Cain and Lily's reconciliation is inevitable, but it's going to be a slow burn. Cain is going to have to work hard to prove to Lily that she can trust him again. But is he willing to change? The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates tease that Michael Baldwin might find himself in a questionable position ahead. Is Cain Ashby planning to enlist Victor Newman's ex-attorney for some dubious dealings? Cain currently has Amanda Sinclair serving as his legal representative, yet there is space for additional lawyers to join his team. If Cain proceeds with all these corporate takeover schemes, he will require substantial assistance to execute everything successfully. Furthermore, Y&R enthusiasts will remember the strain between Amanda and Cain when all the chaos unfolded in Nice. Cain might be inclined to consider a shift, or at the very least, incorporate an attorney who can provide a fresh perspective. With everything Cain is trying to accomplish, he could use a lawyer who knows his adversaries very well. Michael has the potential to be a valuable new recruit, perfect for Cain and what he's trying to get accomplished in Genoa City. Given his previous experience with Victor Newman and his understanding of what drives him, Cain might see this as a significant advantage. Victor aims for Nick Newman to connect with Cain and establish a Newman alliance. The strategy is to redirect Cain's focus towards dismantling Abbott, rather than targeting Newman Enterprises and Chancellor. Nevertheless, Cain could devise his own plan if he persuades Michael to assist him in challenging the Newmans. When Victor thinks Cain is successfully distracted, Cain could be busy setting up his moves against Chancellor and Newman. It would be wise for Cain to multitask and strike when Victor thinks the threat is gone. Michael distanced himself from Victor due to his conflict with Jack Abbott and the plans to attack Abbott. Since Victor continues to target Abbott and won't reconcile with Michael, maybe Michael will think about joining Cain's team. It's easy to picture another major confrontation between Victor and Michael occurring eventually. That might give Michael the final motivation he needs to side with Cain and turn Victor into a real enemy. Victor isn't someone who likes to be opposed, and many times Michael has tried to convince him to change his plans, with Victor becoming angry over it. This may be the perfect time for Michael to move away from Victor and work for someone more against Victor. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Michael might make some career changes and start new rivalries, so stay tuned for more updates on his future. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for the week of August 18th, 2025. Fans can expect Daniel Romalotti Jr. to see a new side to Tessa Porter. Holden Novak tries to fight his attraction to Claire Grace Newman. Plus, Nate Hastings pushes Audra Charles to confess. Keep reading, and let's talk about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Fans will see more scenes between Tessa and Daniel. In fact, Daniel will see a new side to Tessa. In their brief time together, making beautiful music, Tessa has lost her wife. For a time, Tessa was trying to be patient in the hopes that Mariah Copeland would finally just tell her the truth. That hasn't happened, and Tessa might realize that it's time to move on. Over with Nate, he suspects that Audra is hiding something from him. Eventually, Nate gets the truth out of the vixen. However, the brunette will end up throwing the blame on Kyle Abbott. It is also stated that Nate provides an update to Devin Winters. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of August 18th reveal that Nikki Newman tries to fix the rift between Claire and Victor Newman. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott shares advice with Kyle. Later, Victor ends up making a shocking decision. It is also teased that Lily Winters and Cain Ashby reach a stalemate. Fans will also see Diane Jenkins Abbott take Jack on a romantic getaway. I'm wondering about the timing, though. With everything that is going on, including Cain, isn't this the worst time for a trip? It is also stated that Holden tries to fight his attraction for Claire. However, I wonder if he will end up getting obsessive. When he first came on the scene, he seemed fixated on Audra, despite them not being together for several years. I suppose we shall see. Billy Abbott demands answers from Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson. It sounds like that hit piece finally gets published. However, I worry about Chelsea continually trying to save Billy. As for Phyllis Summers, she gives Cain some unsolicited advice. Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of August 18th, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott are circling the drain as a couple. These days, Sally seems to be in it only for the titles, and on the August 13th episode, she got what she wanted when Billy conceded that she can run Abbott Communications. Why should she stay with Billy now? If that seems harsh, let's consider their trajectory and whether or not it's worth it to Sally in the long run to stay tethered to Eeyore. Billy and Sally's daily convos usually consist of arguing about business or Cain Ashby. Wake me up when it's over. Sally never tires of reminding Billy that she left her successful fashion career to join him at Abbott Communications. But now she's miffed that he is focused on getting back Chancellor. In response to her harping, Billy put it in writing that Sally would run AC if and when he got back Chancellor. That wasn't good enough for Sally, and finally, Billy conceded that she's ready to manage Abbott Communications now. Now that she has her flowers, what does she need Billy for? He really needs to find a good therapist and focus on romance with Sally. That doesn't seem likely. Sally is young, vibrant, and fun. Do you associate any of those qualities with the current version of Billy Boy? Instead of saddling her with Billy, Sally would be much more interesting with a new man, especially one she starts seeing on the side. It would be fun to see Sally hire a hotshot up and comer to take her place. She'd have to train him, and that means long nights and days. Can you see where this is going? Or do you think that Sally is ready to partner with someone already on the canvas? Either way, it would be a fresh start for her to take control of Abbott Communications and launch a new romance. Explosive, the Young, and the Restless spoilers hint that Sally could be forced to make a hard decision in the coming days and weeks, and we'll bring you updates on any and all romance drama that might be brewing. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with the Young and the Restless right now. Sure, Audra wants to break up Claire and Kyle, but she could betray another person while she's at it. This week's messiest move goes to Audra on the Young and the Restless. She lost Vibrante, and she's getting desperate. On top of that, her ego is bruised because Kyle turned down her advances. She will do whatever it takes to seduce him, even if that means destroying her own relationship with Nate. The hits keep coming for Audra Charles. First, she lost out on Vibrante because she couldn't seduce Kyle and take him to bed. All she got out of it was a stupid makeout session that went nowhere, as messy as it was. Victor grew tired of Audra dragging her feet, so he cut her off. Now he doesn't want to work with her anymore. He wants her to pick up after her own messes. Second, she seemed to have lost her touch. Audra could charm any man and send them to bed with her. It didn't take much, but now it's taking a little more since Kyle is head over heels in love with Claire. But is he really? He seemed to enjoy his mini makeout sessions with Audra. Now she's getting desperate. She wants to finish what she started. Audra kissed Kyle in front of the whole town at society, and she hopes that lips will be flapping, especially Claire's. But she doesn't realize that she also set fire to her relationship with Nate. Nate questioned Audra's moves before she left for Nice, but he has a lot on his mind right now. He has to say goodbye to his half-brother, Damien, whom he just got to know earlier this year. He's also worried about his mother, Amy, who overcame her terminal illness. This week, Audra and Nate flew to Chicago to pay their respects. Audra wants to be there for Nate during this challenging time. However, she's still keeping a big secret from him. She didn't tell him what Victor asked her to do, so she could acquire Vibrante. Instead, she's covering her tracks, so he doesn't find out anything. Also, she doesn't realize that everyone saw her kissing Kyle. She hasn't regarded Nate's feelings ever since her mind has been on the nice trip. She's acting like a good girlfriend and like she cares, but her actions show otherwise. She knows what's coming for them once they come back from Chicago. This could be her third and final blow. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that Cain Ashby's return to Genoa City has fans on the fence. A recast is sometimes controversial and sometimes refreshing. In this case, the fantastical nature of Cain's return, with Billy Flynn in the role, has had hiccups, perhaps affecting how fans accept the character. There are a few holes in the plot about his grand return that is making it hard for fans to digest the comeback as it's been presented. Here are 5 of them. Cain credits his father, Colin Atkinson, with helping him to become an overnight gazillionaire with trains on all 7 continents. Because rail travel didn't lose status like the horse and buggy. We have no way of knowing the truth of this claim, since Colin is supposedly dead, and dead men tell no tales. Besides that, Colin was a 2-bit swindler. Anything that Cain has by way of Colin is immediately suspect. Even if Cain had help reaching the summit, he's had to manage the subsequent wheelings and dealings all by himself. Does he have that kind of skill set? Is he really on Victor Newman's level, as the show would have us believe? Apparently, Lily Winters is the reason behind everything Cain has done for the last 6 years. Why? They have been divorced for a long time, and apparently in contact via co-parenting their twins. In all that time, Cain never thought to ask her out for coffee or take her to a Broadway show as a sign that he's interested in her. Cain and Lily have referred to their twins, Sam and Maddie, but nothing has been said about Cain's son Sam, the result of an affair. Much has been made about the mistakes that Cain made that ruined their relationship. Shouldn't his indiscretion be addressed? Or should we forget that Sam ever happened? Cain dragged Chance Chancellor all the way over to France because he thought his life was in danger. He told the detective that he needed his protection, and yet it was Chance who ended up being killed. Everyone is now back in GC, but the whole Cain is in mortal danger plot has been dropped. That's just sloppy storytelling. Now it's your turn. What do you think of Cain's return to YNR? Be sure to catch up on everything happening with the young and the restless right now. Come back here often for the hottest YNER updates, news, and spoilers. Get comfortable and gain access to the best soap intel on the web. Nick Newman's return from the brink of death was not a resurrection, it was the birth of a darker, more dangerous man. The traumatic experience, compounded by the chilling indifference of his family, has left a permanent scar on his psyche. The loyal son, the man who once valued the Newman dynasty above all else, has been replaced by someone forged in betrayal. In the quiet aftermath of his recovery, a storm brewed within Nick. The piercing realization that no one came for him, that his so-called family was apathetic to whether he lived or died, set his mind on fire. He was an afterthought, cast aside in favor of the children who better played the roles Victor Newman demanded. The family he had given everything to had no real place for him. This painful truth has twisted Nick's grief into a cold, calculated rage. He no longer needs their love or approval. What he needs now is power, the power to make them understand the true cost of their neglect. He has set his sights on the ultimate prize, dismantling the very empire that has forgotten him. Nick Newman wants revenge. Enter Cain Ashby, the perfect ally for Nick's Scorched Earth campaign. Both men are outsiders in their own families, used and manipulated by powerful patriarchs. They share a common enemy in Victor Newman, and together they represent a threat that neither could pose alone. Their alliance was forged not in friendship, but in mutual ambition and a shared thirst for retribution. Their meeting was filled with a cold tension. This is not the easygoing Nick of the past. He is a man with a singular, chilling focus. "I want Victor to understand that I'm not someone he can just ignore," Nick stated, his voice like ice. "I want him to fear me." Caney, ever the strategist, understands the stakes. He knows Victor sees him as a threat, and that this alliance is a high-risk, high-reward gambit. Nick's plan is simple and brutal. Force Victor to acknowledge him as the rightful heir and leader, or face the systematic destruction of everything he holds dear. This is no longer a business negotiation. It's a declaration of war. "I've already been destroyed, Cain," Nick confessed, the weight of his family's betrayal heavy in his words. "I have nothing left to lose." This unholy alliance is set to ignite a brutal battle for control of Genoa City. Two embittered men, cast aside by the families that should have protected them, are now united to bring down the titan who hurt them both. But as they move forward, the question remains: how far is Nick willing to go to make his father pay? A long-buried secret is poised to shatter the Abbott family to its core. Spoilers reveal that a secret journal belonging to the late Dina Margeron will be unearthed, containing a confession that could rewrite Abbott history forever. In its fragile, perfumed pages, Dina writes of a lonely, impulsive night and the lifelong guilt that followed, leaving behind a breadcrumb trail that points to a devastating possibility. Jack Abbott may not be Billy's brother, but his father. The discovery sends immediate shockwaves through the family. Jack is left reeling, caught between the potential loss of his brother and the stunning reality of a son he never knew. For Billy, the news triggers an identity crisis. throwing his lifelong rebellion against his family into a painful new light. Always the black sheep, he now faces the possibility that the man he both admired and resented is his true father. While the emotional fallout consumes Jack and Billy, a different kind of storm is brewing at Abbott. Diane Jenkins, ever the pragmatist, immediately pushes for a definitive DNA test, seeking to control the narrative before it spirals into a public spectacle. However, her attempt at control is quickly overshadowed by a calculated power play. Ashley Abbott, seeing an opportunity in the chaos, teams up with the shrewd Tucker McCall to leverage the crisis. They argue that the family turmoil makes Jack unfit to lead, proposing a radical corporate restructuring to protect the company. This move is a thinly veiled coup, designed to neutralize Jack's control and install a new order. The path to the truth is deliberately sabotaged when a shocking twist emerges. The preliminary DNA samples have been tampered with. An investigation reveals that the manipulation was not random, but a sophisticated scheme designed to fracture the family further. The evidence suggests the goal was to weaken Jack by embroiling him in a paternity scandal, while simultaneously positioning Kyle Abbott, his stable and pedigreed son, as the perfect puppet heir to calm investors and the board. The conspiracy turns a family tragedy into a high-stakes corporate war. With a definitive, secure DNA test now pending, the Abbotts are battling on two fronts. They must confront a secret that redefines their past while fighting a shadowy conspiracy aiming to steal their future. The question is no longer just about paternity, but about who is manipulating the family from the shadows. As they await the conclusive results, the fate of Abbott and the very identity of the Abbott men hang in the balance. Will the truth bring healing, or will it be the final blow in a masterfully orchestrated takedown? The young and the restless spoilers reveal that Billy Abbott has always been a man ruled by emotion, his life haunted by the devastating night he lost his daughter, Dileia. For years, Billy's grief twisted him into a shadow of himself, bitter, reckless, and consumed by rage. That rage had a name: Adam Newman. Billy believed Adam was the reason Delia's life had been cut short, and he carried that torment like a scar he could never heal. The tragedy defined him, shaping every choice he made. But time has a way of reshaping wounds, and even Adam, who bore his own guilt and punishment for the accident, found himself paying for his sins in ways no one could have predicted. Slowly, painfully, Billy and Adam came to a fragile truce, a recognition that the past couldn't be undone, and that forgiveness, however difficult, was the only path forward. Yet just when peace seemed within reach, a revelation shatters everything Billy thought he knew. Dileia is alive. It begins as whispers in the shadows, then dreams that refuse to let go. Adam is haunted by visions of Dileia, her laughter, her bright smile, her small hand reaching for him. Billy, too, feels her presence in ways that defy logic. Both men, once sworn enemies, find themselves drawn into a mystery bigger than their shared grief. And then comes the shock that changes everything. A call, a message, a truth long buried. Dileia was never gone. She's been alive, hidden away in a life far from Genoa City, in a place where secrets were her prison. For Billy, the discovery is both salvation and torment. Years of mourning have left him raw, unprepared for the moment he comes face to face with the daughter he thought he had lost forever. She is no longer the little girl he remembered. She's grown, shaped by the cruel secrets that stole her childhood. But she is here, alive. The reunion is nothing short of heartbreaking. As Billy pulls her into his arms, tears flow freely, the weight of years collapsing in a single moment. "Dileia," he whispers, his voice trembling. "You're really here." And in that moment, father and daughter cling to one another, broken yet whole, forever changed by the truth. But in Genoa City, no revelation comes without consequences. Someone kept Dileia hidden all this time. Someone with motives dark enough to tear apart not just Billy's world, but the lives of everyone connected to the Newmans and the Abbotts. And as Billy holds his daughter, the questions burn in his heart. Who took her? Why was she kept away? And what dangerous secrets are still waiting to come to light? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal a storm brewing in Genoa City, one that could shatter alliances and expose truths long buried. Audra found herself on the edge of breaking, her composure slipping as she sat on the corner of Cain's desk, tears streaking her face. For months, she had been drowning under the weight of lies, each one carefully crafted to protect Victor's agenda, to preserve a plan that never truly felt like her own. But now, in the quiet of Cain's office, she could no longer hide. "I can't keep doing this anymore, Cain," she whispered, her voice raw. "I've been lying to everyone, including myself. Victor's betrayal, it's too much." Cain, calm and deliberate, stood with his back to her, gazing out the window as if the skyline held all the answers. He had known this moment was coming. Audra was unraveling, thread by thread, and he had been the one trying to hold her together. But when he finally turned, his voice was sharp, steady, and full of command. "We can't afford weakness now, Audra. Not when we're this close. You knew what you were walking into when you married me. You knew the stakes." But Audra wasn't convinced. Her chest tightened as she stood, pacing the office, her words spilling faster now. "I've been Victor's pawn for too long. I've played his game, I've worn the mask, but I don't even recognize myself anymore. And Kyle?" Her voice cracked as she tried to push the thought away. "I can't even look at him without feeling like everything I am is a lie." Cain crossed the room slowly, his eyes burning with a mixture of frustration and desperation. Placing a hand on her shoulder, he leaned close. "You're Audra Diamos, my wife. Together we'll control it all. That's the future we're fighting for. Don't forget why we started this." Audra's breath shook as she met his gaze. For the first time, she saw not just the man she had married, but the dangerous web he had drawn her into. "I can't pretend anymore," she said softly but firmly. "Not for you. Not for Victor. Not for anyone." Cain's jaw tightened, a flash of anger surfacing before it was buried beneath cold resolve. "If you betray me now, there's no turning back. We both lose everything." But Audra's eyes no longer held fear. They burned with something stronger, defiance. "I'm not betraying you, Cain. I'm freeing myself." Just as her words hung heavy in the air, the office door creaked open. And there stood Victor Newman, his commanding presence filling the room. His piercing gaze cut straight through Audra, reminding her that no matter how far she tried to run, his shadow would always follow. Plus, do Nick and Phyllis end up clashing over Cain Ashby again? For the Monday, August 18th, episode of The Young and the Restless, spoiler photos focus on Claire, who doesn't look happy. Audra and Nate have an intense conversation in the park. And Nick and Phyllis have a tete-a-tete, but will the exes clash? In this first image, Claire is alone at Crimson Lights, staring into her cup of coffee. She doesn't look happy, and it's understandable why she's looking so disheartened. Victor keeps messing with her relationship with Kyle, and so does Audra, who kissed Kyle right in front of her. Later, Claire looks a bit better when Nikki joins her. According to Monday, August 18th teasers, Nikki makes it her mission to reconcile Victor and Claire. Is this a mission impossible? Meanwhile, at the park, Nate and Audra are in the middle of an intense discussion. Neither of them is smiling. Nate knows that something is up with his girlfriend, and he wants to know what. He's even more curious now that Claire attempted to tell him something serious before Victoria stepped in. It seems like Audra is going to remain cagey about niece Kyle, and the real reason why she's not running Vibrante. At least for now. These days, whenever Nick and Phyllis talk, it's about Cain Ashby and whether or not she drank the Cain Kool-Aid. Nick can't believe that Phyllis would really turn on people she has known for decades in favor of working for this 2.0 version that's living on a train in Genoa City. Meanwhile, Victor tasked Nick with being the good cop when it comes to the billionaire with a loaded agenda. Will Nick let Phyllis in on his true motives for making nice with the mogul, formerly known as Aristotle Dumas? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal there are some comings and goings information for the week of August 18th, 2025. Fans can expect Tessa Porter to make another return. In fact, she could be ready to move on from Mariah Copeland. So, let's get started talking about what is coming up in the CBS soap opera. Comings and goings reveal that we will once again see more of Tessa. It's been really nice to see her on screen for a story, although it means dividing Taraya. Tessa doesn't know what Mariah is hiding or why she won't talk about it. Until she does, Tessa doesn't think Mariah should be around her or their daughter, Aria Porter Copeland. As for Mariah, she's not listed in the comings and goings for the week of August 18th. However, we know that Sharon Newman will continue to worry about her. There is also Tessa, who is starting to wonder if it's safer for Mariah to stay away. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that fans will also see more of Daniel. Fans watched as Daniel opened up to Danny Romalotti about his feelings for Tessa. Danny smiled as if knew about the feelings all along. However, Daniel also knows that this is the worst time for Tessa to start a new relationship. After all, she is still processing Mariah's separation. It is teased that Tessa will surprise Daniel by showing another side of herself. I wonder if she will finally get fed up with Mariah and decide to look forward. That could mean admitting that she has feelings for Daniel. While it might not be the best time, Daniel knows how brief life can be. If he learned anything from Heather Stevens' death, it's that tomorrow isn't guaranteed. So, while it's not the best timing, sometimes people just want who they want. There could also be some more news about Cain Ashby's plan. In Nice, Cain claimed that someone was going to try to kill him. Cain is perfectly fine. So, if that was true, isn't there still someone that could try to eliminate Cain? Could that person end up following Cain to Genoa City? Which storyline are you looking forward to seeing the most during the week of August 18th, 2025? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Keep watching the soap on CBS or Paramount Plus to find out what happens next. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you!